together. So you can understand that how sir can pick up, and he himself explained to me that this is a pure case of major research project, and he literally helped me throughout. And sir has been a guiding force for me. So thank you, sir, for that beautiful introduction. And participants, I assume that all of you are from computer science background, and the basics have been covered, as sir has mentioned. I hope you all can see my first slide, and I'm loud enough. Kindly acknowledge.
Yes, madam.
Okay, thank you, thank you. So whenever I will ask you any question, I request you all to keep your video on if it is possible. If you're not comfortable, you can keep it off. And we can go ahead with this only if it is an interactive session, because interactive sessions are much more beautiful, I feel, than just, going one way. So let me start. This basic diagram, all of us have seen and we know. I don't think that we need clarity on what is data science and how it's a mix of machine learning, stats, mathematics, domain expertise, and computer science. But what I would like to highlight today is an overview of the case studies, majorly case studies in business intelligence, analytics, and data science, where I would request you all to please be interactive and explain to me whatever you know about that particular situation. So it could be something which is right, which is wrong, and there is nothing which is the perfect answer. So I would also like to learn from you all, and then we will see the ethical issues or what is the dark side of data science, which is very, very interesting feature. And finally, the applications of machine learning, as sir explained to you. Let me see how we can do justice and finish everything within 2 hours time, which is given to me. So we'll go ahead. Have you heard of this book, Moneyball? Anyone has read this book? Anyone has seen the movie Moneyball? I hope I'm audible to everyone and I'm loud enough. Has anyone seen?
Hello.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
The chat box is not activated for us, so we have to unmute and then only reply. So yes, for me, I haven't seen this book or this movie.
You have not said. Did you say you have not?
Yes, I have not.
Okay, thank you. I can't get your name, but I just get your initials, DP. No problem. Thank you for interacting, because I'm not aware whether you can hear me. You all can just unmute yourself and speak. And if you all know the answer, you can keep your video on too. No problem. So this is based on a real story of 2002, when an American baseball team lost 3 key players. So, baseball is very, very famous in America, and they have their big teams and there's a lot of money involved. And this book is a national bestseller, which came up later. Now, what happened here is, so this is the first case study which I'm discussing. What happened was, it was the poorest team because it was paying very less to its players. But despite that, when it lost 3 players, what it did was, the manager went to Cleveland to hire some more players to find out how they can at least sustain the game. They were not thinking of winning, but they were just thinking that they could participate. And at that time, what he wanted was, without spending lots of money, how can you build a successful team? That is the time when he met Paul DePodesta, who was from Harvard University, and he had got a graduation from there, but he also had a degree from Yale University in economics. And Paul had some ideas that using statistics, we can predict which players can play well and they are not taken up by teams. So they are not getting played or they are not getting paid too. So you can make a team. And the manager and this Paul, both of them were so convinced about this that later on it was history that they won 20 games in a straight set and they completely changed. And thus this book came up. It's a true story and it is played in real life in movies also. Recently, there are lots of this movies going on. Whenever you get time, you watch it. Thomas Davenport, when he wrote in Harvard Business Review about how data science is the sexiest thing incoming, that became a very, very turning point in that word of data science. Till then, everyone thought it was only statistics and very boring and it was only numbers. And there is one more paper to this. So I've just kept these papers for your reference. So continuing with this, where sports is using data science in a good way, the trainers can also use this. They were used for the wearables. They were used for managing and maintaining the heartbeats, body temperature, respiration rates of the players, for predicting and preventing player injuries, to find out which player is getting sleep and who is not sleeping at night so that they can present or play well the next morning, and various MRI scans for risks from preventing brain injury. Let us take the scene 2. So the first one was in sports. Second scene is the recent political campaigning in Goa. This is from a recent newspaper. Let me put up this part. This is much easier to read. If you can see, it is 3rd of February. Goa went to polls on 14th of Feb, Valentine's Day. And you would be surprised to know that everywhere we had several political parties this time coming in. And if you have read a little bit about Goa's politics, I would not like to discuss on that. But several voters were surprised to see their names being used by national parties from outside Goa, speaking in Konkani or trying to woo the voters and saying, I'm here to help you. There are lots of videos created like this, and it was flouting all kinds of concern. And every time we would switch on the TV, there were political campaigns. If you do YouTube, you get various parties. If you switch on your phone, you get. So constantly we were getting phone calls from students, interns about whom we would like to vote and why, although we didn't want this question. So our data was compromised. There was a lot of privacy concern. This was the first time for us happening in Goa. There was no law, obviously, or rather there is no law against intrusive digital campaigning, because as you can see in the paper, even the ex-AG has told that there is no law against, they can do it. But all of us were harassed without actually being, openly speaking about it, but we all were going through this. Third case study. Can anyone tell me what does this case study show or indicate?
Madam, slides here are not visible, madam.
Sorry? I cannot hear you.
Slide is not moving, madam.
You cannot see the slides?
Yes, madam.
No, ma'am, it's visible.
You see, it's showing, but whatever you are saying, that slide is not seen.
Some student is saying slides are not seen. It's just a tweet.
No, it's
There is no slide. It's just a tweet. And I'm asking, what does this tweet indicate?
Okay,
And
madam,
if,
okay.
yeah, that's it. There is no slide in that. Another example of something like that. What are these tweets indicating? If anyone can catch on these. I'll show you one last tweet without getting too much into it. Anyone can guess what are these tweets indicating? Well, these are coded lexicon of abuse. Again, in the papers, which you all must have read, these are Desi troll armies, and they are building such kind of coded lexicon so that no one can catch them, because we have several languages. This is a big NLP question, which you all can try to solve. Those who are NLP lovers, Twitter algorithms, rather Twitter data science algorithms cannot catch such kind of slurs. And that's why you're having lots of trolling happening. I hope you understood these 3 examples. Did you? I'm not getting any input, so I have no clue. Shall I go ahead?
Yes, madam, go ahead.
Yeah. So I have given you 3 examples where one was of sports, where they used it positively, data science. One is about the trolls, where they are using it negatively and trying to see that the algorithms can be literally run down and they will not be used anymore. So organizations are under constant pressure to respond quickly to various changing situations, and these kind of complex problems must have quick strategic, practical and operational decisions, because one small thing can lead to a very, very large problem in the society. If you have seen some of the tweets which I showed to you. Now, without going into details, just a little bit, I'll touch on what is BI, what is BA and what is DS. Business intelligence, business analytics and data science, just in short. So this is umbrella term that is combining architecture, tools, databases, all kind of applications. And it is to enable easy access to data, basically. It is helping to transform data, and obviously it's giving you decisions and actions. And basically it is helping users to gain insights. We all know these parts because all of us are computer science teachers and we have studied this long back, okay? Analytics are what? These are the tools that allow transformation of data into information and knowledge. And these are also allowing monitoring, measuring and comparing these key performance indicators, which are set already. You have various user interfaces which are allowing to access and easy manipulation of other BI components. So analytics are the tools. So now look carefully and listen carefully. I will not go ahead till I get an answer now. So all of you, those who are sleeping or you're having lunch or whatever it is, please wake up. Okay, I need an answer. Now I have to behave like I do in my classroom. So business intelligence, usually, can you tell me what is it used for? Quickly, without actually Googling, okay? You can directly tell me anything that comes to your mind. I think so there are about 80, 90 teachers over here.
How to promote business.
Business, correct. Various applications of business, true. So I will just quickly show you, but all of you, please keep your ears and eyes open. There is a question coming up soon, okay? And I would want a debate and interaction. I just don't want only organizers or only one person speaking. So business intelligence is used for customer behavior, buying patterns and sales trends, measuring, tracking and predicting sales and financial performance, budgeting, financial planning, forecasting, tracking performance of marketing campaigns. Look carefully at all of these, okay? Optimizing processes and operational performances, improving delivery and supply chain, e-commerce analytics, customer relationship management, CRM, risk analysis, finally, strategic value driver analysis. Now, the most important thing to note for you is 80% of the clients which come to data scientists are from business or from insurance, banking and customer services. You ask any data scientist who's actually working in the field. They are not academicians, they're actually working, and I have interacted with some and I have found out that 80% of their business comes from all these commercial fields. Are you aware of this? Shall I skip this slide?
Yes, madam. Yes, madam.
Yes. So my question will be to you about prescriptive. OK, so if everyone knows this, I will not discuss types of analytics. I will give you a situation and you will have to prescribe to that situation. So anybody wants me explain this, or shall I go ahead? One person has told me. Everyone else, are you representing others also? Shall I go ahead?
Yes, madam. Yes.
OK, OK. Thank you. Thank you so much. So everyone knows this. I will not. But I'm going to ask you questions, so I want you all to focus on this. So the major question is, what is important? The technical knowledge and the skill sets? Do you need computer science, stats, applied mathematics, or you should be business-oriented professional? What is important? The business analytics part or the data science? Or you get all in one together? Can anyone answer me that, please?
All in one, madam. Mathematical, statistical, computer, and business.
Ah, that's a good one. But sir, tell me, do you get like this combination in real life? Most of us are computer science teachers. We have studied science. We are not good in commerce, isn't it, sir?
BTech student guy with MBA can cope up with all these things.
Agreed. Then still why are actually data scientists? Agreed, sir. That is a hypothetical situation and ideal too. Agreed, sir. But always that is not the case, because you do not get a mix of everything or someone who will be an expert. OK, ideal, that would be a very good situation. Now, I'll give you a small example before I ask you the question. OK, shopper analytics of Amazon, because Amazon is using data science. It has enough money and it's doing very good. So this is taken from this website. It uses the recommendation based system. If you all are aware that earlier in 2010 to 11, initially basic level data mining had started. And in India, it came roughly around 14-15 when in syllabuses of engineering colleges, data science was mentioned and all. And only because of that Thomas Davenport thing, coming up so well. And also from 2004 to 10, Facebook and all social media recommendations era came. So because of that, this became quite a big recommender systems. So earlier it was all RBS only, recommendation based system only. And slowly, much later did it come to only business. So your machine learning algorithms which are being used, only if a scientist or suppose say a person who is very good at coding, he will just do machine learning and he will do something on the data and say, sir, I've got 90% accuracy. My training and testing data, everything is working well. That does not mean that actually he's understood the business problem, correct? You cannot tell your clients maths and stats. You have to explain to your client in a way that he understands about data science and how the outputs are. In short, what I can say is you need not cut your cake with a sword. You can cut your cake with a small knife. So why would you go for a sword? People use all kind of algorithms, get so much of accuracy, which is not needed. You have to focus on your problem. So basically, your computer science problems should be solved with technical problems, and you should understand the business model and apply algorithms accordingly. Now, here what it is saying is it is tracking the user's mindset, as we've seen, understanding the technicalities or the habits of the customer. We all know about cookies, and it is doing faster processing of shipping through predictive analytics and drones. This is very, very simple. This is the question which I wanted to ask you all. A scenario given to you, assuming all of you know data science, you all have used all the algorithms, you all are studying about classification, clustering, regression, all of that. It's a scenario, a hypothetical scenario where HP Printers has 1 million customers in Maharashtra. And the sales head of HP Printers meets a data scientist and tells he has some new toners which is lying in his godown and he wants to sell to these people. If this project is handed over to you and your team, how would you approach this? Did you all understand the problem? Shall I repeat it again? Complete silence. I need some answers, please. You may be right, you may be wrong.
Hello, ma'am.
Yes, hi.
I think we have to find out how many customers have registered on HP website.
Customers are
many...
already there. Customers are already there with HP. They already have the 1 million customers. They have the record and the data, right? They have already made the sales. You have to find out two things, okay? Which are these? What are the technical skills needed and what is the business objective? So tell me what should be the business objective now?
Selling of new toners.
Correct. So if you want to sell new toners, in other words, what else you need to do?
What's the current demand? Whether they are using original or duplicate.
Okay, but now you want to sell. How will you come to know? You cannot approach directly these 1 million customers and say you're having original or duplicate, right? This work is outsourced. Usually this HP outsources its work, okay, to all these data science firms. So they have given this work. Now these data science firms cannot go and ask them. They cannot make calls to these customers, okay? They have to churn out with algorithms. What will they do? This problem is given to them. How will they solve it? If you don't know what is the objective itself, how will you use your algorithms and technical skills?
Exactly, madam.
So what is needed over here? What do you think is needed? Guess. Try. Not difficult. It is not difficult. Very easy.
Understanding the requirements, but how to understand the requirements?
Basically, you want to increase sales, correct?
Yes.
Now you want to increase awareness of your product. You want to identify the persons. You want to identify the media which is used to gather the data, whether you want to send emails, SMS or calls, how much money will be spent on each advertisements, correct? Yes or no? Yes. Do you agree to all of these?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So are you going to put ads on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook? Where? You're going to first see that things. Now, suppose iPhone is coming up with iPhone 13. Now, how do we know iPhone 13 has come? Although iPhone has already made a brand name, correct? iPhone should advertise somewhere. So same way, they have come up with a new toner. They should first know that how many of these people have brought these products for long back and their toners are getting old and over. They have to predict that. So when will that cartridge get over? So pick up from the databases, this kind of things have to be done. How old is their printer? Then the targeting is done, then the identifying, and then you do all these. Which media, how much advertisement, how much spending, how many people will come to their website, how many will leave, how many will not buy, then all these things. So a small scenario where actually a data science person is going to work and how much money on each is not easy for a data scientist. I hope you have understood what I wanted to say.
Yeah, ma'am.
Yeah. So it is what we are saying is it's the knowledge is necessary, as you said. That knowledge everyone has, but actual implementation of statistics, maths, and just see this business processing, technical and business objective. We all know what it is. Now, when I told you, you all understood. but working on it, HP won't tell them all these things until unless they ask, and they cannot keep on asking them, right? And there's lots, huge amounts of data. I've just given you a small example. So such kind of scenarios are prevalent, and actually people are working on such kind of objectives. So maybe if you want to give a research project, a small research project to your students, you could say that in Goa, if the catch is good and they've caught a lot of fish, you know, some special fish, which is the most popular one for such a perishable item, how could they export it and get the best of their sales? You know, something like this. So you're understanding the business scenario, you have to know the technicalities, you have to know the algorithms, and you have to apply and use it properly. Most of the times we notice that people take tools, they apply algorithms, they get accuracy, they create that confusion matrix, everything, and they say this is my results. They don't know actually what has happened. Inside is all a black box. That is where they get caught whenever there is a defense. So these kind of things are very, very important to understand. So coming to a little bit of big data. What is big data?
Collection of huge amount of data.
Yes, huge amounts. So you all have learned about all those V's, you know, volume and veracity, and so many other things are there. There are 6 V's which makes up big data. And where does it come from? Which are the sources?
Maybe social media.
Yes, correct. Streaming data, social media, weather forecast, so much of big data coming up from several different sources. Correct. How is it stored?
What's the 6th V, madam? What is the 6th?
Sorry.
6 V's. Volume, velocity.
Now, yeah, there is volume, veracity, then there are so many others. You want me to tell those all? Right now I'll have to open the textbook. I have that.
No issues, madam. No issues.
I'll tell you. It's all in the textbook. There are 6 V's. Volume, veracity, and so many others are there. There are 6 V's of, if it falls within that, it is definitely big data. So usually the storage pattern, the processing when data is so huge is very, very expensive. Are there any analytical techniques for them?
Yes, madam.
You have heard? Yes, MapReduce, Hadoop, you all must have used, right? Yeah, so there are various analytical techniques and applications of big data. Especially,
new strategies, new patterns.
Yes, health sciences, financial services are huge, stock markets, power industry, law enforcement, you just name it, okay? There are plenty of such data streaming, especially, you know, telecommunications, e-commerce, lots of applications. So basically they use this method. I don't have to tell computer teachers what is ETL. You all know about data pre-processing, correct? How data is extracted from multiple sources, building efficient pipelines, and then feeding them into machine learning model. Now, in this data pre-processing, there is data consolidation, which is not mentioned over here, where data is consolidated, like collected and cleaned, and after that the cleaning comes. Most of you know all these, how missing data is and what is noisy data. Transformation is done through these methods. I don't need to get into much of these, but why I put this is because of dimensionality reduction, one of the data reduction things in data pre-processing, which we have used for our research paper. I will be discussing this application of machine learning with you all in just a few moments from now. So this paper is of 2018 is what I found, that how statistics and computational sciences are different. I didn't feel much of this paper, but this is just for you to read in case you all feel, you know, this is what I could find. How are these fields different? This is their own personal view, which they have put up in this Springer paper. Now coming to a very, very, very important part. When I read this UNESCO's ethics case studies, okay, and it said that examples of ethical dilemmas. So this was very, very striking to me. Are you aware of these ethics in AI?
Maybe that emotions, artificial emotion intelligence. There, I came to know that some ethics, but not a
Emotions? No, sir. No, sir. Not emotions. Ethics. Ethics. Anyone has heard about ethics in AI?
No, man. This is the first time I'm hearing.
This is very, very important. This is the dark side of AI, which nobody knows. And believe me, sir, my friend is working for an AI company. He's hardly in his 30s and he's got 40 under 40. You know, he's got some awards and all recognition. He's in charge of 16 different countries. Okay. Young scientist, you could say, and very good at data science. And of course, in computer science, statistics and all of that. He himself didn't know. Last night, I called him up to ask that, do you know what is the dark side of data science? He was discussing about that all these algorithms which we use may not give you the correct data which you expect. And, you know, the accuracy is not exactly correct because it may show 90% accuracy, but actually it will not be. All of these things he spoke, but he didn't know about this. So it is, I will share it with you so that you can come to know what it is. But before I go to that very important presentation, do algorithms have bias? We have heard of algorithmic bias, correct? We have heard of that. Do algorithms have bias? So the diversity of the background of the team is a bias, okay? How does the group think? If you have diverse people in your background, then only you will be able to give some proper opinion. If similar people are there, how will you be able to get diversity there? Same thing, diversity of the mindset. Personalities are all should be different. Only then diversity of data and algorithmic models. All of these together, you can avoid algorithmic bias. So basically, algorithms are not biased. Humans are biased, correct? Because they are designing the algorithms. Let me come a little more to this, and then you will understand. This ethical issues in data science, or the dark side of data science, is by a professor, Jennifer Lewis Priestley. It's in YouTube. You can watch it later. You can just search it by these: the good, the bad, and the creepy. Why data scientists need to understand ethics. She has so beautifully presented this paper. I mean, her ideas. So she is a professor of stats and data science from Kennesaw State University, Georgia. And I will just give you in short what she has said so that we don't spend a lot of time. It's a big YouTube. You can go through it whenever you all have the time. She has presented 3 different topics. And the first thing that she has said is, a few people can create a lot of harm, she says. Listen to it carefully. A few people can create a lot of harm. Any guesses? What does this mean?
Manipulating the things.
Sorry?
Manipulating the things.
Manipulating, you said? Did you use the word manipulating?
Yes, madam.
Okay. See the dark side here. Let me give you more so that you can understand it. Now, have you heard of the Manhattan Project? All of you? Anyone has heard? Has anyone heard Manhattan Project? No? None of us were born that time, of course. No? Okay. So how is that Manhattan Project related here? I'll just give you a small parallel so that you can understand. Now, the Manhattan Project was around end of 1930s, like 39 or so, when a group of researchers and R&D people and scientists met together along with only few government people of America to discuss about some kind of a weapon which could destroy or create big destruction. And in 1945 came an end to World War II with the first atomic bomb because of these people's creations. So these few people, were the people who were harmed knew about this? Were they ready for it? Did these people know that it is going to create so much of an harm? They were also not aware, right? So globally, it created a huge impact. In fact, it was told that even that explosion could have caused a burning of the atmosphere itself. All of us would have been killed if it would have been not a controlled. So in such a case, data scientists are not aware when they're sitting in closed rooms, they're working in AC atmosphere, they are not aware what are they doing and what harm it is going to cause in the future and coming generations or worldwide. Let's say this example of troll which I give you. They are not even aware of what that troll is going to do and how much of lynching is happening, how many problems, political unrest and problems, so many things is happening with a small forward or with a small thing which is put on the Twitter. Okay, so people are not even aware. Second point which she has told, the dark side, lack of consent. You are not giving consent. I gave you the example of the second example. You all remember? I gave you all the example of political campaigning in Goa. None of us, at least I had not given any consent to any political party to continuously give me calls and annoy me with all their advertisement every day till the polls. I mean, till the end of 13th of Feb. I constantly got it. I didn't give them any consent, but it kept on happening. Are you aware of what is target marketing?
Targeting a particular group of customers, a particular group of people.
Yes, you're targeting a group. Correct, correct. Very good, very good. Now I'll give you an example. Listen very carefully. This was a case where actually it happened in a medical store. They wanted target marketing by analyzing the purchase behavior. So whoever was coming to that medical store, they just wanted to see that what were these people buying, and based on their behavior of what they are buying, they wanted to give them some free vouchers or a future prediction they would have done that probably these people are having blood pressure, or they will get into health problems or heart problems, or they would need a walker, or they would need so many things, or maybe a diaper future. So something like that, you know, they're coming up with target marketing and they were tying up with bigger companies. Now, what happened was during this target marketing by data science, one particular family, the father of the family, received coupons. Coupons from whom? From a company where the a new mom or a newly a mother who is just given birth to a newborn baby will require various items like baby food and diapers and clothes and so on. So he was very angry with this medical company that why are you giving me these coupons? Nobody is pregnant here and what should I do? And he went and he actually fought with the chemist over there and saying that how can you do this? Why you're target marketing? Believe me, the algorithm knew before the father that the 17-year-old, his daughter, was pregnant before the father knew. Because of her buying behavior. She was purchasing those medications, etc., folic acid probably, and whatever medications she was purchasing was based on certain things because she knew she was pregnant. And this machine learning algorithm was not human enough to understand that this is a 17-year-old unwed teenage girl. She is not going to give birth to that baby, or if these vouchers are given to her father, what are the consequences going to happen? So there is a lack of consent. What the machine learning algorithm did, it didn't ask her permission, did it? Not at all. She was completely exposed. And there are several cases where in America and several others, there is some adult friend finder where she gives an example where all married couples were in that adult friend finder, some kind of an app where each one wanted to find some other partners other than their own partners, and that whole thing was hacked and shown publicly. You can imagine the problems which it must have created in their relationships, huge amount. So there is no consent here. The algorithm is doing its work. It has exposed, it has hacked, it has done its work. It has shown it on some website, wherever publicly. It has created a lot of problems in that. So there is no consent where these people are doing all this work and they're asking your permission. Can we do it? Will this algorithm do what I think it does? I think that my algorithm is the smartest. My model is very good. The training, testing, efficiency is absolutely fantastic. It will not always be or behaving in a way which I can predict 20 years, 30 years from now. As we have already discussed in the previous slides, that algorithmic bias is created by humans and not by an algorithm. So she, when this Dr. Jennifer was presenting the paper, she herself told that these algorithms are biased towards fair people and not towards the colored people. And she gave several examples where in public places, the cameras, the CCTV cameras, you are aware, right? The CCTV cameras are trying to capture and they're capturing people, and then they're always trying to present, you know, they're trying to focus on the darker people and see, or maybe someone who has got some kind of characteristics, maybe a turban or a beard or a cap, you know, skull cap, to see whether these people have some behavior at the background. Not necessary that only these people could be criminals, right? So bias. So data scientists are not aware of the unknowns and the impact on future generations. She has proposed a beautiful Maslow's hierarchy of data science, which I will not tell here. You all are going to watch the YouTube, so you can go because this is not a part of these. Ethics is one part where she's mentioned. Before I go to the next slide, are you aware of Maslow's need hierarchy theory?
No idea.
Oh, this is if you have studied management, Maslow's need hierarchy theory says we always strive toward the basics first. What are the basics? Food, clothing, shelter. Correct? We don't want a TV at that time. Basics have to be satisfied. Once the basics are satisfied, then you would go for job satisfaction. You wouldn't first go for job satisfaction, right? So first you want the basics, then you go for higher and then higher and then higher, right? So she has made on those lines a hierarchy structure for data science, Maslow's. I think you should go through it. Y'all have any questions? Anything to discuss? Because the first part of my conversation, before I start with my applications now.
Clear, madam. Clear, madam. Clear.
Sorry, any questions? No? Go ahead.
Yes, madam.
Okay. Sorry. Any question?
No questions, madam.
Okay. So let us go to machine learning in dance, which is close to my heart. And of course, Professor Joshi. What was the objective of this research work? To generate innovative choreography for Indian classical dance, Bharatanatyam. Why only Bharatanatyam? Because it is the mother of all the dances and it is also an ancient time-tested classical dance. But why were we trying to work for something which is already 200 years old or more? You know, where and how would this choreography be possibly used? And would the dance gurus, you know how skeptical they are. We have faced them. They have their set ways. We have learned this. We want to do this. We don't want anything else. So there were several challenges to this application. Motivation came from 1989 paper by Judith Gray, where she mentions about dance technology. Dance and computer science are fused, and why not use something like this to make the work more innovative and use the power of computers. My passion for innovative choreography, while of course I was practicing Bharatanatyam those days, and also I wanted something different. So I was going through various dance videos, and it was not necessary that all the masters or gurus were having creativity lacking. It was not that. But I was always questioning, was deviation from tradition not allowed? Was it said in the ancient textbooks or something that dance has to be in this particular way? If any one of you have studied or your children are studying Bharatanatyam, Kathak, any of those, Assamese, any kind of dance, you will see everything has a pattern, classical dances. Why is it like this? Why not? Where is it written that dance has to be done in that particular way? Probably the answer comes from stereotypes are easier to execute. Brain doesn't have to spend more energy in processing something new. Probably I thought, and rote learning method is used in dance. Guru, Shishya, Parampara. So follow the Guru, Shishya, Parampara. Whatever Guru is training, teaching, I learn and I teach my students, and goes on and goes on. And of course, dance follows muscle memory. As you know, practice, abhyas they say, right? You keep on practicing again and again and again, and your muscles have learned that, and you do that. You don't want to bother into something different. So to understand this question, I said, first, let me read the rule books of Bharatanatyam. And when I read Natya Shastra and Abhinay Darpana, although I was practicing dance from childhood, I had not read this. I was quite surprised to know there is no mention of how to dance in these books. None of these books were telling how to dance. So what is there in this book? Has anyone read or has any idea what is there? Natya Shastra has 36 chapters. Anyone knows? So this is an ancient book on dance and dramaturgy. It tells you about Ranga Pravesh, like how you enter the stage. What are the qualities in a dancer? How should you dress up? What are the hand gestures? What are the finger movement mudras? What are your leg gestures? What are the movements of Anga, Pratyanga, Upanga? All the minutest things they have given. Details. How many ways your head can move, your hand can move, your waist, your chest, all those. So you'll be surprised that the Bollywood movements, which are not followed in Bharatanatyam, all of them, like pelvic movements or chest movements, they are mentioned there. It's a part of a movement, okay? Those movements are mentioned here. So every dance is taken from Natya Shastra. Natya Shastra doesn't teach you how to dance. Same thing with that book. And it has very much allowed you to experiment within that framework. So by further reading, I came across 3 categories: Nritta, Nritya, and Natya. Now, this is of interest to me because these are rhythmic movements of the limbs of the body, and these are called as pure dance movements. There are no emotions, and it is mainly Angika Abhinay, that you use hands, legs, waist, face, all these things to do this. Representational dance is Nritya, where you're doing a storytelling. Okay, you're explaining something is this, and Natya is combination of 1 and 2. So my experimentations could be done with 1. So possible. Okay. Now, whenever you go to a dance school, you start with basic steps. Even if anyone has learned amongst you dance or your kids are going, you would be knowing basic steps are taught. Just like we learn ABC in schools or A-E-E. Similarly, the pure dancing is called as Nritya, and that is the basic of Adavu. So combined to form a dance sequence, and this Adavu is formed of 4 different things, which is that what is the position of the leg? What is the posture? How you're standing? How are your walking movements? And what are your hand gestures? So basically, whenever you will go to learn dance, you're taught first only the leg movement so that you get control. then hands are introduced, and slowly movements are introduced. Okay, so this is how dance gradually is taught. These are some of the head movements. Now I have circled because these are the few which are taken for codification, because these we needed to codify the Anga Lakshanas or the body movements so that we could develop a model. Now Alolita is something where movement of the head in a circle. This, as you would know, would indicate a person who is sleepy or in a drunken state. So we are not going to take this movement for our nritya. Similarly, there are various other movements, you know, when you move your head from side to side, when you're moving your head. So moving side to side meaning you don't want something. So that is also telling a meaning. So like these movements are not considered. Second is hand movements. You have single hand, you have double hand. Single hand gestures are 28 and this is 23 in number. Now I have just taken few of this which are used for nritya, and these single hand gestures comprises our nritya movements. Now we said that 23 and 28, so there are 51 movements. Where are those? So some of them are used for conveying a meaning. For example, Chandrakala is half moon. When you say Shiva's, you know, Parvati's, that Sarpa Shirsha, hood of a snake or a deer. So these things are not chosen. Double hand gestures could be easily coded with single hand movements. So these were not taken. Leg movements had 4 different things: static movements, circles, leaps or jumps, and walking. Something which looks like these. This slide will come up once again. That time the explanation is there. So these are various Padavedas. Now look at this, just for you to understand. So there are so many head movements, neck movements, eye, hand and leg. I have only taken these. Waist is not mentioned. So how many possibilities are there? More than 5 lakh possibilities. 5,72,832 raised to n. What is this n? Number of beats. For a single beat, you have more than 5 lakh possibilities if you choose combinations from these. Is it possible for a dancer to remember so many possibilities? Second, are all the possibilities done for a dance or for Bharatanatyam? Is everything physically possible? So there are so many constraints. So considering this as a large database, we started our work, and the objective was to choose meaningful combinations. Dancer can try variants because the system will give various options. You can choose one which you feel is comfortable and good enough, and you are trying to automate the framework for system generated choreography. Quickly, we'll go through the modeling of the major body limbs. The 3 body planes that were already used, and this is already a paper, the transverse, sagittal and coronal planes, which are the X, Y and Z axis planes, the head and the hand orientation. As I told you earlier, these are the positions of the ankle positions, ankle. So ankle, this was taken. These were the knee positions because either you could be standing, half sitting or full sitting in Bharatanatyam. And these are the X. When the leg is going in the same direction, it is X axis, positive. When this leg would go in this direction, it would be negative. Y axis is raising the leg up. Z axis is taking the leg behind. So the modeling is done according to the Bharatanatyam dancer's plane of movement. And another important thing is we consider that a dancer knows Anga Shuddhi, like is she following a proper rhomboid structure or a straight hand? Because what is correct and what is wrong is not the system going to teach, whether you're right or wrong. The system is only going to generate choreography. You have to have your Anga Shuddhi. So considering all these, we designed a 30 attribute vector which look like this. For example, for this pose, a 30 attribute vector. The first two would be for head. See, next are for right hand, divided into all these 8 attributes, then left hand. So head, right hand, left hand, waist has 2 attributes, right leg and left leg. See these. So 30 attributes were designed and this is how we made a dance position vector. So pose notations for representing adavus was designed. And what we did was, after generating these kind of 30 attribute vectors, we generated the system and we use genetic algorithm, we use normalization to model it and to find out which is the closest to the adavus or ideal dance steps, and we generated innovative choreography. That part I have not put in this because I'll focus only on the machine learning part. So through the Art to Smart system, we had so many poses which were unique poses, and for the same sequence, see, this is the sequence 1. So if it's a 5-beat movement, this is a 5-beat movement. The dancer can choose this movement and say, okay, this is the best. Or she can choose this or this or this. There are 10 different sequences generated by the system. Only 4 are shown here because of the lack of space on the screen. It's a screenshot. The dancer would rank, expert ranking these and find out. So once the system is trained to know what the dancer wants, this is a 3-beat. This is a 3-beat movement. See, again, the same pose. Given the same pose, you have options. You choose this choreography or this or this or this, and you rank them. So once this ranking is saved, the system can be trained and tested to understand the liking of a dancer. Now, what we noticed with expert ranking was, it is a subjective decision. It is very, very time consuming, and machine learning could help in this classification to automate the process. And we also wanted to reduce the 30 attributes dimension reduction. So I will focus on last 2 parts. Any doubts so far? You want me to clarify anything? Is everyone with me or fell asleep?
No, madam.
I'm not aware because I can't see y'all. I have no clue. Okay, hopefully y'all are with me and y'all are understanding. Y'all can stop me wherever, okay? You can raise your hand or ask me. You can just stop me because I'm not able to understand whether you're getting it. So the objectives of
Subject is very interesting because you are applying machine learning to data dance.
Yes.
So it's
Yes.
very new. And
Thank you so much. Thank you. So the objective was classification, basically we used, and dimensionality reduction, as I told, that's what I wanted to explain to you. Generate redux, that is, you remove the redundant data, the data which is not needed, okay, from those 30 attributes. And I used 2 different tools, okay, RSCS and Weka. Anyone of you have used these tools? Has anyone used?
yes, madam. Weka I have used.
Weka you have used. Okay, okay. So these are the tools so that we get a comparison to see how much is the accuracy coming by 2 different tools. Okay. So RSCS is rough set exploration system, that this was done long back. Okay, 12 or 13, I think so, 14, I forget. So this was that time, this was the version. These are all free available. Okay, you all can download them and you all can use this. And this is based on rough set theory. And this is Weka. This is, that time I had used 3.6.11. So what were the experimental results? So we had used international, national and state level dancers to train our system. Okay, so we had got physically, we used to go and meet the dancers and they had their mood swings. I'll tell you, that was the most difficult part I had. And I was in so much of a hurry to finish the project. Anyway, so I had some trained instances which was input in the system, and the system generated some rules, and from there we got some redux. So from 30 attributes, we've got 7 and 8. 2 of them we got. And this is how the system, the screenshot of RSES, this is how it looks. And with this, that time we had got 72.7%. We had only 224 with us. Okay, remember that. So with this cross validation method, we had got this much for the trained data. And then we used VECA, we used the J48 algorithm, and we had 30 dance position vector and 1 for the class attribute, and we got 66.96, which was 67% accuracy with that. So something like these screenshots you have used, sir, so you must be knowing about it. And now choosing only the 8 attributes, we noticed that we could have also got this kind of accuracy and increase because we tried with different kinds of reducts with 8 attributes, 7 attributes. So what was our future work that time? We were using these tools for comparing, and we were saying that we could train further to get more accuracy, and experts could validate and find out whether this is working good or not. Now, before I go to the next, I always noticed that these experts were always creating problems for us. They were not allowing us to finish our work within the particular time. You know, a research project always runs within a particular time. And then we said that I had to finish and submit my thesis at that time. And finally, to continue that work afterwards, we said, why not use the machine to find out what are the aesthetic parameters. So this paper was presented in 2019 with Professor R.S. Joshi from BITS Pilani. And this is creativity in performing arts. We also presented this in India International Science Festival, which was concluded recently in Goa in December 12, 2021. So they asked us to actually present. So 2 parts they asked us. One part was to present the dances which were system generated. So live choreography, live. So we had dancers and they did. If time permits, I'll show you a bit of that choreography, few seconds. And IISF, okay. So let us go to this aesthetics part, okay. Because we know that dancers or experts were creating their problems. So what are the common principles in aesthetic parameters? Are there common parameters? And is it similar for humans and others? Others means what? Others means? Any idea?
AI.
No. This is humans and let's say bees, or let's say animals, birds. Okay. So aesthetic parameters are defined by well-known professor from California. I'll give you some examples and I'll show you how he has done it. And we have drawn a parallel to Bharatanatyam to this. So which are the common principles of aesthetics to both humans and other creatures? Coming to the example to you, a flower. Everyone loves flowers, right? Whether it's rose or lotus or Rajnigandha, anything, everyone loves. I rarely think anybody would be hating. Maybe you would hate the smell of certain flowers, but everyone loves to see a flower, right? Now, isn't the flower attractive to a bee also? Honeybee, correct? So that is what he's saying. These are principles by that professor. I'm coming to him in a bit. So he says there are common principles of aesthetics, but the need may be different, he says. Need is different. For humans, it is different, and for a honeybee, it is different. Have you seen this male bird of paradise? Anybody has seen? Anyone has seen? Now you can see. Can you see? How do you find this bird?
Only zoo, maybe.
Huh? Zoo? No, have you seen this bird? I have seen only in Nat Geo. It's from some other country. Yeah. Now, why do you think this bird is so attractive? Is it for us? Why is it made attractive?
The color.
No. Why? For whom is it made attractive? The male species of the birds are made attractive for whom?
For female.
Yes.
Partners.
Correct. For the female partners. Very true. Just like even peacocks, they are attracting peahens, but we also love the feathers, isn't it? So same way, maybe somebody picks up their feathers and put it in their hat or their dress or something, you know. So common aesthetics. This is the person of whom I'm talking about. Dr. Vilanayur S. Ramchandran. He's a noted Indian American neuroscientist who has earned a medical degree in India. There is some disturbance. Someone's. Do you want to discuss something? I can see only IC over there. I don't know who is it. You want to discuss something?
No, I think it was unmuted, so I have muted her.
Yeah. Okay. I'll go ahead. So he earned a medical degree in India and obtained PhD while studying experimental neuroscience at the University of Cambridge. He's the director of the Center for Brain and Cognition and a distinguished professor with psychology department and neurosciences program, University of California, San Diego. You can read about him more. There's a lot. Now, his popular books, one of them is 1998 Phantoms in the Brain, which is considered to be path-breaking research, especially for people with amputated hands and all that. It's very interesting. You all can go through that. And the one which was of interest to us was The Telltale Brain. 2010, somewhere it is written 11 also. The chapter 7 of this book has Beauty and the Brain, the emergence of aesthetics. So in which Dr. Ramchandran says, aesthetics are common to both humans and other creatures. I just now gave you examples. And there are universal principles of aesthetics. So he has given Navarasa or 9 principles. Okay. How did he develop those? In 1994, when he had a sabbatical to India, when he was visiting professor at Institute of Neurology, there was a dry spell at his clinic. There was no patients coming. And so he just took a walk to the Shiva temple in his neighborhood. Okay, Mylapur. And there he came across the bronze statue of Parvati. What do you notice in this picture of Parvati? What is striking in this? Do you find anything striking in this?
Some dance position.
Yeah, yes, her dance position. She's not standing straight, right? This position where she's bent her hips, you know, this is called as Tribhangi in Odissi dance. So what he is saying is anyone who is just standing straight, you know, whenever you click photographs, you have seen people standing straight, you know, hands straight, legs straight and all. It doesn't look nice. You have to curve yourself a bit, you know. So you have to deviate a little bit to look more beautiful. So he felt that these sculptures are so beautiful in India. This is the man, our Dr. V.S. Ramchandran, his 9 neuro-aesthetic principles. He has given 9 of them. I'll give you examples one by one. Do we have time, sir?
Yes, madam.
Yeah,
Okay.
till 2 p.m. 2:30. 2:30. Your time is till 2:30.
Yeah, 2:30. I have enough time. Enough time. Yep. Sir, you have to mute. Sir, you have to mute, sir. Somebody is talking. Kindly mute. Kindly mute. Muted? Okay. Shall I go ahead?
Yes, madam. Yes.
Yes. Now, grouping. Now, the brain is tending to group similar elements or features, he says. So, taking this principle in Bharatanatyam, what could be grouping? What could be grouping, you feel? You all have seen a Bharatanatyam dancer, right? It's not a difficult question.
Yes, madam. Actually, mostly while they are playing, they'll be showing same kind of position. Maybe we can group according to their where they are standing or according to the eye movement.
Yes. Correct. So in case of Bharatanatyam, successful grouping like dressing similarly, identical looks in terms of eye makeup, jewelry, similar jewelry, right? Usually the height or body weight of performance are, when you have many dance performers, they are always, similar kind of height and weight. You don't have one very tall girl and one very short. Usually they don't put, just so as to look good aesthetically. So he says that if there is grouping happening, then it looks nice. Peak shift. Now, what he says is the brain is responding in non-linear ways to exaggerated stimuli. Exaggerated means something which is out of the way, just like that Parvati's picture we noticed. She's bent on one side, correct? So that looks something different rather than she's standing straight. Another example of exaggeration could be, have you all seen caricatures of politicians? Seen? Not seen? You know what's a caricature?
No idea, madam.
Vyanga Chitra.
Vyanga Chitra. Correct, sir. Correct. I was not getting the word. Yeah. Many call it cartoons and all. And there is a lot of controversy over that. Section 66A and politicians don't like. But when you draw the cartoons or Vyanga Chitra, as sir says, the nose is pointed, ears are out. That is something which is very, very exaggerated. Okay. Now, what is happening here is, essence, the sculptors can deliberate exaggeration of poses. So in Bharatanatyam, the poses are very, very different and unique. That itself is giving the highest peak shift, it says. Now, he has used a word mirror neurons, which is already there in Wikipedia. You can read about it. So mirror neurons are activated while watching changing postures. Now, to explain, anybody knows what's mirror neuron? Shall I explain otherwise? Do you know what's a mirror neuron?
Please explain, madam. Please explain.
Okay. Now let's say if you see your friend eating tamarind or something sour like a pickle, okay, automatically your mouth starts watering and you salivate, right?
Yes.
Or I mean, someone is eating something and you're feeling the effect. You're not actually eating it, right?
Yes.
That is mirror neuron. That is mirror neuron. And in fact, Dr. Ramchandran's book, that Phantoms of the Brain, also talked about mirror neuron, that you can read later. Okay. So he's saying here for aesthetics, he's saying that whenever you have some exaggerated or some difficult Bharatanatyam pose, everyone feels good and feels great, because you also feel, you're in that moment. You cannot dance, but you feel good about it. That's what he says. So this is the picture of that peak shift, where we all know the beautiful poses which Bharatanatyam dancers are doing, and it really looks beautiful. You may not even know Bharatanatyam, but you can enjoy Bharatanatyam, correct?
Yes.
You need not know Bharatanatyam. Yes. So till this you all are with me, right? Any questions? Anything to discuss? You want to stop? You want me to give you a break or something? Or you're getting bored? Somebody was talking in between. I have no clue. What is it? Yeah?
You can go
Any
ahead.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. So contrast. He's given the third principle now. We have 9 such. Third one is contrast. He's saying any kind of variation of boundaries, we all know contrast, like white on black or red on black, something like that. Contrast looks very, very attractive and aesthetically pleasing, he says. So if there is contrast, it is going to look good. Too little contrast and the design can be bland. If everything is similar, it may be bland. Too much contrast can be confusing. Like they make fun of sometimes some particular film stars, isn't it? Wearing pink or orange and, you know, that looks, they make fun of them and they say, oh my God, this looks like a Joker's costume. So the different colorful and contrasted costume of the background dancer with reference to the main dancer, or even the accentuated eye makeup, gives a contrast. So you will see in Bharatanatyam, the eyes are very well done because there are a lot of eye expressions. And in Kathakali, there is more of eye makeup because there's quite a lot of subtle eye cheek movements and all that. So they accentuate those makeup and make it contrasting so that it's visible from stage, you know, from even from a distance. Here you will always notice that background dancers are maybe having something similar, but the front dancer will have something contrasted. But always, usually you'll find some zari border or something to contrast. Even if it is plain, let's say maroon color, you will have a golden zari, some contrast coming in the costumes. Now, to explain contrast, let me know if you can hear the sound, okay? I will just play. This is that IASF, as I told you while I was explaining. It's a short clip. I hope I can play it. And even if you cannot hear, you can see the contrast, okay? So please pay attention. Could you all hear? Could you all hear it?
No, ma'am, voice is not there.
Voice is some sound only we hear.
Okay, okay, no problem. So basically it was just contrast explaining because the entire screen is LED screen and it was fully black, and these dancers are planning to wear completely black, okay, and very less of red. But then we had to change because of this, you know, there was no contrast at all. So that is what is explained. So sound is not there. Then the sound is not.
Please play again, madam. Please play.
This one, further there are dance sequences. That time maybe because I will have to see, or maybe I'll have to stop presenting and then go back. So what I'll do is I'll go through the whole thing and then these videos we can play later after.
Yes, madam.
Huh?
Yes, yes.
We can. Fourth one now, isolation. So when you're emphasizing a single source of information, like you're talking about a color or a form or a motion while deliberately playing down the other. So let me give you an example. Have you seen the picture of Gandhiji where only his head is drawn, okay, and his spectacles are drawn?
Both.
Either a yes. Yes, have you seen Gandhiji?
Head is drawn.
Only head is drawn, no? You draw just circle, head and eyes. You don't draw the full picture of Gandhiji, correct? Yeah. So that is isolation, where you don't have to draw everything. You just draw some parts and you have to guess. Now you will know what it is, the rest. Okay, so he's saying if there is isolation, that gives aesthetic pleasure. So a sketch can be more effective because there is an attentional bottleneck in the brain, he says. Unique hastamudras and padabedas of Bharatanatyam create isolation because there's not much where the Bharatanatyam tells, but through the art of storytelling, through movements, she creates that isolation. So one more video is there. Pay attention, please. It's a short video, very short. You will not understand. This is isolation. Okay, you will just see how the dancers. So you noticed that the middle dancer deliberately got up later. Okay, so that isolation gave an effect. That isolation is creating an effect. Fifth one is perceptual problem solving. Peekaboo. Now, what it means is very, very interesting. This one is, This is saying that you can make something more attractive by making it less visible. Can you guess what is it? What does that mean? Something is not visible, less visible, but more attractive. Any example can you give? No? Difficult. No problem. So let's say, yeah, someone has something to speak. Sir, you want to speak something?
Oh, I think like people say Indian woman wearing sari are they generally is look good and is this is most beautifully their beauty is more highlighted when they wear sari as compared to the Western dresses.
Absolutely, because in Western dresses, everything is visible. So they say that when you're hiding more, same thing is visible. Same thing maybe for burqa. When you see a woman in a burqa, you are more curious. What is there inside? How beautiful is she? Isn't it? So less is more beautiful, he says. So your brain tends to think, okay, what more can be there? You know, your brain is activated into that mode. So the Bharatanatyam dancer doesn't reveal each and every detail of the story, but it's left to the imagination of the audience. You have to decide what is this story, and each one, whether you are a perfect dancer, you know Bharatanatyam, you don't know, you're just a rasik, you have gone there, or you've gone out of frustration or whatever, but each one is trying to decide what is that story that she's trying to tell. So that itself is perceptual problem solving. So 1 second, a single gesture done by the dancer could be interpreted in many different ways by every audience. Like this one. Any guesses? What is this showing? What are these dancers trying to show?
Killing.
Sorry?
Killing someone.
Killing someone. Correct, correct. Mahishasur Mardini. Absolutely. Only because it is taken from this side, you can see those. Otherwise, if you would have taken from front, it would be the 4 hands of the goddess, and this is the demon. Okay, absolutely correct. Thank you. So this is that. 6th one, abhorrence of coincidence. He says too much of coincidence is rare and suspect and boring. So if you know everything which is there, it's boring. So something has to be suspect. Okay. So our brain is trying to find a plausible alternate, some kind of interpretation to avoid the coincidence. Now, the various Indian mythological tales are depicted through Bharatanatyam, and they're presented in different ways by building up a story slowly. So we all go and we watch these performances. Let's say Ram Leela. All of you must have seen so many times, but still we would like to. Sita Haran, we have seen so many times. Krishna Leela. We all love these. Okay, we know what is the story. Or so many, you know, all these things we keep on watching again and again, and we feel that the building up of the story, it's so beautiful, we would like to watch it again. So that is the beauty of this. The dancers are not in sync deliberately. Just have a look at it. Okay. Could you hear the song? Could you hear the audio?
Audio we are unable to hear.
No, ma'am.
No.
So for the next part, when I'll be coming to the last and final part, I will stop presenting and present again. All right.
Okay.
Or I could stop here and do, because there's one more video. Shall I do that?
Yes, madam. Always visualization will be very attractive.
Yes, visualization is attractive. So when I say sharing, audio system was not included. Okay. Now you'll be able to hear. So shall I go back again? And can you see my screen? Is my screen visible?
Yes, madam.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, Sangeeta madam. Yeah.
Okay. Now see if you can hear. Oops. Sorry.
The screen is not visible.
Could you all hear it?
Yes, madam. Nice.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, okay. So that was 6. Now we are seeing about orderliness. We know that this is in order and this particular part is not in order. So anything which is in order, in sync, looks beautiful and attractive always. And Bharatanatyam is completely designed in order. And believe me, now 30 years I have been practicing dance. I didn't realize till I actually went for codification. I'll give you a small example. Let's say these, you can see my hands, right? So just 5 hand gestures I'll show. This is Pataka, Tripataka, Ardha Pataka, Kartari Mukha, Mayura. So it is going in a particular sequence, the fingers, okay? These are the hand gestures. So even for legs, you know, so the transition becomes so easy. Whenever you have any movement from one to another, it is so beautifully designed scientifically that orderliness helps the dancer and also the audience who is watching it. So whether it is the hand gestures or the leg movements, everything is in order. The pattern of dance movements, everything is in order. And symmetry, anything which is in symmetry. You remember Anga Shuddhi, which I showed you of Adabus? You have to be in symmetry, which looks beautiful. So this is order and symmetry, where the dancers are in complete sync and it looks really attractive. And the last one, metaphor. What is a metaphor? Nataraj pose always depicts Shiva. Dhanush will depict a Ram, or Sudarshan Chakra depicts Krishna. So all these are meanings and metaphors which bring out the aesthetics in dance. And there is one last performance for you all. So get ready if you all want to see this video. I'll play the music. So this was a demonstration to show a bit of everything. It was a big performance of all the 9 neuroaesthetic principles put together in one particular performance. Now, what do you learn from this? What do you learn from these principles which I have shared with you? Are all of these just the exhaustive list for aesthetic parameters? Only if these 9 are there, if you can say, are these 9 principles enough to say that everything is beautiful? Can we experience rasa only if these 9 principles are there?
We are only watchers. We don't know how many results.
So it's not necessary that only if these 9 principles are there, then the entire aesthetic parameters is covered, right? There may be so many more. Now, why are we searching? Why did we come to these 9 parameters? Anyone remembers? Now I'm acting like a teacher. Why do you think we went for these 9 parameters? What was the reason for searching for his books?
Innovative choreography.
No, choreography was already done. Choreography was done already. Why were we looking for aesthetic parameters? No? Anybody could speak. I'll stop presenting. There's so many people, right? Anyone can speak?
Like you have started with the mudras from Natya Shastra, and you want to imbibe this aesthetics to make it more you can say entertaining, the mudras. The combination of mudras and aesthetic can make it more acceptable for the audience that you might wanted to experiment on. That I thought about.
Madam, Varsha madam, what I wanted to say was already the choreography was done and Bharatanatyam is beautiful. It's already time tested thing. The reason for aesthetics, the reason for going for this was because the dance teachers were not having time to do. So if a computer is going to say what is beautiful and what is not, we need some parameters. Correct, madam?
Yeah. So I thought that you want the machine to make this.
Yes. So how will the machine know what is beautiful? How would you define? So if I look at a painting, I will say this is beautiful, but Varsha madam may say, oh, this is not. So there has to be common universal principles of aesthetics. So how can we make a machine learn a model when we don't know what is aesthetics? Correct. I have to say what is good and what is not good, what is aesthetically pleasing. So minimum, if these 9 are there, sure shot that pose will be beautiful. Correct. If it follows these, that was the idea. Clear, ma'am?
Yeah, sure.
So the idea was that try and use something which is already existing rather than behaving on humans or waiting for them to understand and tell, finally whether this is good or not. And everyone was having different mood swings. They were having their own problems, or they are in a hurry to catch a bus or something or the other. So when your mood is not good, you might say this is not good, and run away because you're in a hurry, or say everything is very good. Right. Now, this idea came because there was one dance pose particularly, which everyone said out of 10 to 20 dancers I have met all over internationally, nationally and state level. Everyone was saying this pose is not great. This is a bad pose. This is not a great choreography which your system has generated. Why would your system generate such a choreography? But there was one dancer from Goa and she really liked that. And she took that pose and she danced and she showed me. She said, if I get this as a starting pose, I would be able to do a beautiful thing out of it. I really liked it. So that struck me that if one person is also saying, means she's innovative or she is having some creativity, or maybe she has more time, whatever it is, I have no clue. So that is where this idea of aesthetics came, that we have to find some common principles. Now, before I go to the last part, now is the last part, and then you all are free. This one, oh God, this has become a mess. Okay, this is Professor Joe D'Souza from Department of Psychology. And I'm sorry. Extremely sorry for all that. I will show you the effects of dance because this is the current project which I'm working. The effects of dance on health and the brain. This is with York University, Canada. Professor is Joe D'Souza, and this is a YouTube called as Synapse Dance. You all can see this also, Synapse. But first you'll go through the video and see what you can understand. I'll present the video. If you cannot hear audio, let me know, I'll stop it.
Not coming.
No audio.
Audio is not there? Okay.
No.
I will. This is about Parkinson's disease. So I'll do it again. I'll do it again.
I was diagnosed with Parkinson's about 2 weeks after having a major heart attack. It's so frustrating. You don't have the control over your body and mind that you used to have to, in fact, fight with. It's like somebody tying you up and then telling you to fight.
This is a really, really ugly disease. I've had a heart attack, 2 cancers, and this one has really got me angry.
Forward, and you bend forward. Listen.
I come to MBS on Tuesday mornings for the Dancing with Parkinson's program that they're running. It's a research project and a therapeutic program, both combined.
Release the tension on your body. Good. Supporting like this.
My name is Rachel Barr, and I'm the Health Initiatives and Research Consultant at Canada's National Ballet School. And I guess you could say I planted the seed of the Dancing with Parkinson's program. I was teaching at the school, and I thought, well, if we had a group of participants, we could actually study what goes on in the brain of people with Parkinson's that are dancing. Just in our preliminary results, we're seeing improvement in gait, improvement in balance, which is really important for this population.
Now we go up, good morning. And take it down to one side.
Parkinson's disease is a neurodegenerative disease.
And flower blue.
The classic symptoms of Parkinson's are usually the motor symptoms. So you'll notice hand tremors or other parts of the body that are tremoring. Mood is actually a big one. Some research has shown that even before the onset of the motor symptoms, that you might notice a person with Parkinson's might fall into depression. You'll also notice things like facial masking. One of the comments that we get in class sometimes is like, well, it doesn't look like anyone's having a good time. And that's because, you just kind of get this very blank expression on their face, which is the disease. It's not actually that they're not enjoying themselves, because if you talk to them, and they keep coming back, you know that they are.
Ready? And.
My name is Joseph D'Souza, and I'm Associate Professor at York University in the Center for Vision Research. One of the students was Rachel Barr in the class, and I was talking about habit formation, and she came up to me at the end of the class and said, I'm an ex-ballerina who, if I hear the music of a dance or ballet I studied, it comes back.
So as my undergrad thesis, I was looking at the effects of rehearsal on the brains of professional ballet dancers. And when we were looking at the data, we started to see that some of the areas that were activated were areas that were affected by Parkinson's.
So let's go back to the beginning. 1, 2, 3, 4.
What we're adding to this field is trying to find out where in the brain it's changing as a function of dance.
want to fight this disease in any way I can. So I'm available for whatever they want to do to me. I'm not going without a fight.
Did you know how to dance before you started this program?
No, I never danced in my life.
During his brain scans, David visualized the dance he's learning while listening to music. We can see David's auditory cortex. This is where his brain interprets sound, in this case, music. It then translates sounds into signals that other parts of the brain use to move or react. David's motor areas link the music to his visualization of the dance. The activity in this area increased as he became more familiar with the choreography. For people with Parkinson's, the internal beat in their brain is desynchronized. So the music helps them recover some of the desynchrony their motor system needs. When they're moving to the music, they even sometimes forget they have Parkinson's. The insula is involved in emotions and in linking emotions and facial expressions to the music. And so what we see in some of our participants is the insula activity as people learn being a little bit more increased. And so I think this is part of the beauty about dance. It's a way to almost cheat the disease. And with Parkinson's, you know there's an interruption in the circuit somewhere. You just don't know where it is. And what dance helps do is it helps create bridges across these circuits. What our research really hopes to provide is a neural map of people who are dancing with Parkinson's. And maybe there's something that will evoke an idea in a other researcher who studies Parkinson's. It's really the hope.
First of all, it's fun. I'm getting out of the house, I'm going and doing something. And for the first time, really, I'm enjoying my retirement in many ways. I see the therapeutic effects of it, anticipate it. It's like learning a whole new language. I've learned to be able to express myself in dance, which is something that totally abstract and foreign to me before this.
Given me back my life when I found out that I had Parkinson's. I couldn't move around at all. Now I'm, exercising and walking. I'm doing things. I'm back to having a life again.
It's like one statement of who we are instead of hundreds of garbage movements that we don't control. It like gives us the chance to be ourselves, to really express something that's personal. And everybody has their own style, and we're all affected by how Parkinson's has affected us, but that's not who we are. It's great when we get to be who we are.
Anything else, Judy?
No, I'm done.
Okay.
So that was the end of my presentation. Any kind of discussion? I get very, very emotional whenever I see this synapse. My dad is suffering from dementia, and I saw the effects, the good effects of dance when he had joined a seniors school over here. All senior citizens were there. Just 2 months he went for it, and then the lockdown happened in March. He had joined in the month of Jan 2020. Jan and Feb he could go, and I noticed his motor skills improve a lot. Otherwise he had that shaking hand and this facial masking. Although he's not gone to Parkinson's or Alzheimer's, he's still in dementia stage. So I know how difficult it is with a person who is completely normal, who looks normal, and suddenly behaving like this becomes extremely difficult for us to deal. And that's why this project is very, very close to me. Anyone wants to discuss anything? Sir, you have anything else?
If participants have some questions, then we can have that. And then
reactions.
I have a comment on it, on your presentation. Like it was like you asked for, you have invited criticism.
Yes, I want
something like that one. So
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
no, but let others ask questions.
Yes, sir.
If you have questions, then you can.
Hello, ma'am.
Yeah, hi.
Ma'am, it was such a good session. We are listening and we are watching. We are enjoying everything, ma'am. You taught us a new direction, how we can use data to in a different way. Okay, we never think that we can use art in data science.
How sweet. I got tears in my eyes, if you can actually see. I mean, that's the sweetest thing you could tell me. That's so sweet. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for sharing such a new topic with us. It's a lot of help from your side. Okay,
Yes.
Thanks a lot, ma'am.
Thank you too. Thank you. Thank you so much. You made my day.
Dr. Sangeeta's project title was Art to Smart, and that smart was system modulated art. So art to smart. That was also very good title she has given to our project.
Sir has given. Sir is very good with it, and without sir, I wouldn't have. I mean, if he wouldn't have recognized the potential which I had, I wouldn't have gone anywhere. I thank completely Dr. Manish Joshi, and you all are so. You should be grateful that you have such a nice personality with you, who is always there to guide you. I mean, we were so far, Jalgaon and Goa, but he was always there to help me. He has always helped me. Thank you, sir, for giving me this opportunity.
Yeah, like it was like I just wanted to share one thing before we end, and it's like a lesson for all of us. Like we always do research and we just publish paper and then we say it's okay, I got my PhD and everything is finished. But I think we should think of having its societal impact. Like what is the use of my work to the society?
Correct.
And so that's how we can think of, like if you explore, then you can certainly find out even the art can be useful to the society, as we have seen an example, live example over here. And the purpose of this lecture is to just show you that how the research can be extended to make it helpful to the society. So I think this we should think upon it. Whatever is our research, like we yesterday were talking, some few research problems were shared by people, by our participants, like for crop, for face recognition. So make it extend it to, so that it will be helpful to the people, to the society. So thank you, Sangeeta. It's always nice to hear from you, and you always inspires all whenever we meet, and so it's like good to hear from you. Thank you all, and thank you, Sangeeta, for sharing beautiful presentation. Thank you.
Bye bye everyone. Bye bye. Bye. Happy nice day.
Can all switch on your video of camera so that we can have a photo with Sangeeta?
I heard you. No. I came back.
So you can have a photo with Sangeeta if
Okay,
everyone switch on their camera.
I couldn't.
Sangeeta, hi.
Hi, Varsha.
A famous Bharatnatyam dancer. She has won many awards. So we have a photo with her. 8 people have joined, 9. Come for a photo. I think we like to have photo sessions in India. So I think you can join immediately. Yes. Coming up. 4 and 3, 7 and 10. Only 10 people have switched on. So shall I take a photo?
I don't know where the light should be.
You're not able to switch on?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm taking a photo. Thank you.
Only selected participants can share video. Not able to turn on video.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you.
Bye.
We'll join again we'll start at 3 o'clock. Our next speaker is going to give a lecture from Luxembourg. Around, I think it will be 10 o'clock for him. And he is from Europe, which is the epic center. Now Europe is an epic center for the war. And still he is giving his time. So we will be here at 3 o'clock. So we'll join at 3 o'clock.